Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I want to go over with you all on how to progress in calisthenics. If you're watching this, I can only assume you are a fan of calisthenics training or are curious to know how it's possible to continue progressing strength using a training method that at its core uses just your body weight. Unlike weight training, where you have the opportunity to start with lower loads and progress by adding load over time, with calisthenics, manipulating leverage is going to be our version of adding load. Let's first go over two important concepts: progressive overload and leverage. Progressive overload is a concept in training which means making an exercise or movement more difficult over time to force progression, leading to increases in strength and size. In weight training, this can be done easily by adding load. With calisthenics, this can be done by manipulating leverage. So with the application of progressive overload, we can ensure that we are continuously working with the intention to progress to the next level instead of remaining stagnant. I believe it's also important to note that increasing reps, sets, improving technique, manipulating rest times, and tempo can also play a role in progressive overload. Now for calisthenics, as stated, manipulating leverage is one of our main sources for ensuring progress. Since our bodies and gravity are the main sources to work with here, the goal is going to be to decrease the mechanical advantage of an exercise over time by decreasing the leverage. This can be done by changing body position or muscle length. I'll return to these two concepts throughout the video. Alright, next, training methods. Let's apply some training methods for progress in calisthenics. First, we have eccentrics. Eccentrics are great to implement when you are having trouble performing a full repetition of a movement such as the pull-up, dip, or push-up. The reason for this is because we are significantly stronger while lengthening a muscle under tension versus shortening our muscles like we would do during the concentric or positive portion of a movement. So we're able to gain the strength necessary to perform a full repetition just by training the eccentric portion under tension. If you are a beginner though, be careful and cautious with eccentrics as they cause more muscle damage and will definitely leave you feeling very sore, especially if you overdo it. Next, changing body position and muscle length. As we discussed with leverage, changing body position can help create a harder stimulus to induce strength and size adaptations. Once you've successfully gained strength and improved in an easier progression, you can change your body position to increase the stress and continue gaining strength. Here's some examples. For rows, you will change the angle of your body to increase the difficulty. As you get stronger in one position, move into a more horizontal position to increase the difficulty. This same method can be applied to exercises where our feet are placed on the ground, such as push-ups, chest flies, tricep extensions, and bodyweight bicep curls. For statics, such as L-sits, planches, and hollow body holds, you will move further from your center of gravity to lengthen the lever, decreasing your advantage and making the movement harder. Variations range from tucked positions, where we are closest to our center of gravity, all the way to full lengthened positions, where we are furthest from our center of gravity. Range of motion is also something worth paying attention to in progressing exercises. It's harder to generate active force when your muscles are in lengthened and shortened positions. Hitting these end ranges can create a harder stimulus and result in further strength and hypertrophy adaptations. For example, during the pull-up, it's common to see people reducing the range of motion to get more repetitions in because of the difficulty to perform them when hitting the end ranges. You may find more value though in training these end ranges not just for strength and hypertrophy adaptations, but also as a prerequisite for progressing towards advanced calisthenics skills such as L-sit pull-ups, one-arm pull-ups, and muscle-ups, where you'll need to be strong pulling from a fully lengthened position. During the push-up, if we apply a full range of motion with protracted shoulders at the top, we can start to improve strength in this range, preparing us for future planche training, if that's a goal of yours, where the shoulders remain in a protracted position. So using a full range of motion or increasing the range of motion has its benefits and can be a way to increase the difficulty of exercises to progress strength and size adaptations or prepare you for the next advanced calisthenics skill. But ensure that you are gradually working towards these increased ranges of motion. When it comes to statics, such as planche or front lever, it's worth taking caution and progressing very gradually. Do not rush these lengthened positions, especially with the planche where your biceps will be placed under a lot of tension in that straight arm position, and if they are unprepared for a progression, injury is possible. We also have unilateral movements. You can train single arm variations of exercises to increase the difficulty or focus on weak points to improve progress. For rows, you can perform single arm rows to increase the difficulty. For push-ups, you can perform archer push-ups where you keep one arm straight and use it as a supporting arm while working one side at a time. If you want to progress to one-arm pull-ups, you can perform archer variations and use some tools to help progress you gradually. I'll be going over some tools for progressions later on in the video. Another important factor to progressing calisthenics that I believe is truly underrated is focusing on the fundamentals. Some of the fundamental calisthenics exercises include pull-ups, dips, push-ups, rows, and squats. Whether your goal is to muscle up, one-arm pull-up, planche, front lever, pistol squat, whatever it may be, you will benefit tremendously from focusing on and progressing your fundamentals, putting real time into them. They will pay dividends when it comes to progressing to the next level in calisthenics. I'll provide an example from my own experience. I never rushed towards strength skills when I first started calisthenics. I really focused on my dynamic pushing and pulling fundamentals, the basics, improving them consistently over time. I was able to perform muscle-ups and one-arm pull-ups without ever specifically training for them. The tuck planche wasn't very difficult for me to hold when I first tried them, and front lever variations were possible for me to hold without ever really training them. Now, I'm not saying that you should never train these skills and their beginner progressions, because you can and should definitely implement the beginner variations to start working on them. My point here is that I managed to develop enough strength just from consistently getting stronger with the fundamentals to put me ever so slightly ahead to work towards more intermediate and advanced calisthenics skills. It's so easy to get lost in the excitement of achieving those calisthenics skills that you put off the fundamentals and place all your focus on forcing those skills. You can, without a doubt, put all your focus into a skill and get it, but your overall strength, physique, and progress will truly benefit from focusing on the fundamentals and progressing them. The message I want to get across here is to never forget about them. Train them always. Master each one with a full range of motion. Add in your skill work as well, but never forget to improve and train the fundamentals, especially as a beginner. I know it's not flashy or cool, but you will be grateful for them and progress into more advanced calisthenics skills with a foot already in the door. Next, let's go over progression tools. There are some tools in calisthenics that you can use to help you progress. The 3 most effective tools, in my opinion, that you can apply are bands, gymnastic rings, and weights. Bands are great to help your progress, whether it's assistance for pull-ups and dips or training static progressions you can't yet hold with just your body weight. For pull-ups, be conscious of the band that you use, as it's easy to let the band do most of the work and not yourself if there's too much tension. I recommend pausing at the top and at the bottom when using bands. The same goes for dips as well. For static skills such as the planche, you can use bands to allow you to hold a position longer and actually gain the strength to hold it versus forcing yourself to hold a variation that you can barely hold for a few seconds. For both dynamic and static exercises, reduce the resistance over time by using a lighter band to progress until you can hold a variation for a longer duration of time without a band. Next, gymnastic rings. This is the ultimate tool for calisthenics. If you've progressed well on stable objects, especially your pushing movements, introduce the instability of gymnastic rings to progress you to the next level. Are push-ups easy to perform on the floor now? Use rings. Have dips become too easy? Use rings. You've mastered the L-sit? Try them on a pair of rings. Rings not only bring an instability factor, but can also be great for mobility purposes, using a position that's comfortable for you, progressing gradually, and for unilateral movements as discussed before. Now, it's also important to gradually work into the instability, otherwise the rings can bite back. And finally, adding external weight. I know this is calisthenics based, meaning using just your body weight, but if you progressed and want to continue doing so, try some weighted calisthenics to increase the challenge and further progress your body weight exercises. There's almost unlimited potential to continue increasing stress with our upper body work just by manipulating leverage over time. But you shouldn't shy away from adding weight to the fundamentals at some point to continue getting stronger with them. For legs, there are plenty of advancements in calisthenics to give them a serious workout and growth. But at some point, I do believe that adding external load to your legs is important and will be necessary if you wish to grow large legs compared to your upper body work in calisthenics. And finally, to ensure progress in calisthenics, as well as other forms of training, measure your progress. Whether it's going from one progression to the next, performing more repetitions, or increasing hold times, track and measure what you are doing. It can be easy to stick with one progression for too long and potentially miss out on progress by showing up and repeating the same work without forcing some progression. Measuring progress is a great way to ensure you are following the progressive overload principle. Write about your sessions, your progressions used, your numbers, what you did, how you felt, and what you'll do next session to improve. You can train intuitively without ever tracking and still get results. There are many athletes like this, but I believe it's also worth tracking what you are doing and how you are feeling to be a step ahead, to know what to progress, to learn more about yourself, and even to learn when to back off. Alright guys, that's my video on how to progress in calisthenics. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and click that subscribe button down below for more content in the future. If you have any questions at all, please leave a comment down below and I look forward to answering them. Thank you for watching and enjoy the process.